I'm gonna do my JLo video look. Am I doing it? Does it look like I have something in my eye? I don't know how to do this. You know what I'm talking about though, right? Hey people, what is up? This is the last of my series for now of Tiff's little tricks. Starting back from the beginning, I'm just like working myself back into this because it's been a couple hours since I filmed the last video. I got some weird camera message about my SD card being full and out of memory, even though it's 128 gigs and it was not full and out of memory. But I did a reset on the camera so I can film for longer than 20 minutes, and it took a while because I didn't want to lose any of my material, so I uploaded it and that takes forever. So here we go. This morning I wrote down I started writing down the top 3 reasons for spirituality and personal development and why they're so important, but then the list just kept going and going, so it's more than 3. And I don't know, at the end of the day, all we really have is ourselves. I said this in the last video. We come in this world alone and we leave alone. And so the one thing that changes in my life is full of changes and transitions. I am changing all the time. I'm learning new things. I'm shedding a lot of what has been built up. I'm not sure if that will change at some point, like when we get older, if we just stop changing all of a sudden. But I know for me, I go through very quick, rapid transformations. And the one thing that has stayed with me through all of them is the personal development and spirituality. So I'm going to say, like, at the end of the day, what we really have is that. That's the only thing in the end that's actually fulfilling, that will lead to wholeness. Not a soulmate, not a family, not, like having those kids that you always wanted or fulfilling your dreams of being a mother. It's kind of like, I don't know, we can only depend on ourselves to make us whole, which is why in the last video, self-reliance is so important, but spirituality and personal development has given me self-reliance. And I also think that everything comes from within anyways, so if we just turn back to go within, then anything we want can be created there. And the material world is just a reflection of what's going on up here. And by here, I mean like what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we want, what we desire. And I also think in some cases, the material world propels us towards what we really want, even if it's something bad. Like, even if something bad happens, I think bad and good is just a perception. And that anything that really happens is just propelling us towards what we want inside, but don't know how to get. So the world kind of has to intervene and push us in the right direction, and we kind of like get upset about it sometimes, or shocked. But in the end, like, all of our really difficult, challenging moments have been integral parts in our transformation and in us getting what we want, right? So part of personal development and spirituality is learning how to deal with those transitions better and more gracefully. And then when you kind of get good at that, the difficult times get less and less. And then you can focus on putting, directing the world around you rather than it being in like a whirlpool, or almost like a river, a very strong river that's kind of just like you don't have control over. At the point where you get, when you kind of move past all of the gross, like dirty stuff, then you can start directing your life and intending it and you see those intentions coming in the world, and they come how you want them to come, not how the universe tells you that they need to come. Spirituality and personal development are also the things that keep me entertained. I make little games out of them. Anything that I don't want to do, I can enjoy it through spirituality or through personal development. What I mean by that is either I do everything that I want to do, everything that's fun. Like for me, you need to determine what it is for you that you do things for. For me, one of them is fun. Like if it's fun, I'm going to do it. And if it's something that I have to do, that I don't necessarily want to do, or if it's something that I feel like I should do because I get this really strong intuitive pull sometimes, but my human is like, I don't want to do that, or that's really scary, but I just can't help myself. In those times, I find a way to make it fun. That's something spirituality has taught me. It's also something play has taught me. I studied play for about a year. Play changed my life, changed my perspective, and enhanced spirituality and personal development for me, making things a lot more fun. I used to be one of those people who took myself really seriously. Even if you catch me on a serious day, you'll see what I mean. I could get today was kind of a serious day for me. Sometimes I'm really playful. I like to have fun. I like to joke around. I am very light these days. That's something play has taught me also. Anyways, let's actually get to the list that I wrote today. Spirituality and personal development can advance your career. The more you work on yourself, the better you are in this outside world, in this game that we call life. So if career advancement is something you want, I highly recommend starting with your own personal habits and spirituality first. And then you'll see major changes in your career or your income or your title or your position or doing what you want. But you have to make a decision that that's the route that you're going to go. I already mentioned this, but spirituality and personal development makes life so exciting for me. I study myself. I get really into studying my behaviors. I dated nonstop for a year because it taught me so much about me, and it built me, it kind of made me stronger, and it helped me develop boundaries, and it helped me figure out what I wanted. But that whole thing for me was a spiritual journey. It was a personal development journey too. And also knowing my worth and how to deal with people, because when you date, especially if you're dating online, you get so many different people, but all of a sudden you start recognizing patterns, and you start recognizing patterns in yourself. And then you figure out how can you respond to this same situation that's coming up differently. You almost kind of get bored with life if you're not thinking on a spiritual sense or personal development sense, because I'm a pattern recognizer, and when I see something come up and I don't necessarily like the way that I dealt with it, I know that I have a second chance, and I'll have a third chance and a fourth chance, and I can always recreate my answer or my response. And that's something spirituality and personal development has taught me, and that's something that makes life really exciting. For example, if I go to a job interview, this is a horrible example because I've never been on a job interview before, but if I were to go on a job interview, I would take this same approach. I would say, well, I know I'm going to meet a lot of different people. These are the types. I know myself at this point. These are the things that kind of I know how to answer, know how to not answer. I know what I'm really good at, and I know that when I stop breathing, I'm going to need to take a breath and say, hey, can we get back to this? Or maybe I throw in a joke or say something funny so it breaks the ice and kind of all attention comes. I mean, another example of trusting myself and doing something new is I started public speaking recently, and I've lived a life inside of my head. I know what other people are thinking. I'm very intuitive, and I also can see and feel other people's feelings. So growing up, I didn't understand the need to actually speak, to communicate, because I could already tell what was going on. I observe everything, and so I'm ultra sensitive, but the people around me are not, and they weren't, and they didn't know what was going on. So I thought they did because I'm very sensitive. As a kid, I thought everyone was like me. Another example of that is like we had a very close group of Japanese, like a Japanese family that we always hung out with. We were like family with them. We went on vacations together. We had like Universal Studios passes, and we would go after church every Sunday. And I went to school, and the nurses were like doing a checkup, and they were like, "What nationality are you?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I just said I was Japanese because I just thought we were all the same. So I thought everybody was just as sensitive as me and could tell what was going on, but people couldn't. And so I'm now practicing like how to speak my mind and how to articulate what's going on in my head. And it's not easy all the time, but these are things that I know about myself. So I started public speaking, and I knew that it would be a challenge at first because I can formulate things so well in my head, but then when they come out, they don't sound the way that they are in my head. And I stutter and I stumble, and I like to kind of just like go off the fly and not have a presentation, but have like a semi-structured presentation. Since I'm a feeler and I can tell what's going on in the room, I like to keep the conversation fresh. So I converse with the room, and I kind of like play off of the people's energy, and I like bring things in that are relatable. Because every single time I speak to people, the audience is different. So I want to bring in examples of like how business relates to interior design, or how business relates, or how Amazon relates to accounting and bookkeeping. And so these are the types of things that I need to, I don't know sometimes who's in the crowd. And so I need to like kind of be a little bit flexible in how I present. And so I knew that it would be tough for me to explain things sometimes or answer questions. And it makes it easier knowing that when I speak, and especially my first few, I was really nervous. And they were just small, like pretty small networking group meetings and stuff. I was pretty nervous about how it was all going to go. But I trusted myself because I know that I'll get another chance. And that when I start something, it's always a little rough. And it takes about 3 times until I learn how to do it well and know the ropes and kind of like know what's going on and know what to say and know how to flow. And the more often I do that, then the easier it gets, because you create a pathway that allows you to keep using it, basically. So it makes things easier. And so knowing these things all came from spirituality and personal development. And people would sometimes personal development and spirituality into different sections, but to me, they're the same exact thing. So that's why I'm saying spirituality and personal development. I think they're the same to me. I already mentioned increase your income. Never be lonely, never be sad. Not that you'll never say never. Not that you'll never be lonely and never be sad, but it's like when you learn how to nurture yourself and give yourself what you need, sadness is different. You're no long like I used to get super depressed for days and days and days. I think I was actually depressed for the first 22 years of my life, and I didn't know it because it was normal to me. I think I was born that way. So spirituality and personal development brought me out of this depression that I had been in my entire life. And once you raise to a certain level, you almost never fall back. You don't ever go backwards. You just keep going forward. And for personal development and spirituality, forward is up. There are no downs. There are literally no downs. Now, when I get depressed, I notice that that's like, oh, this is a different feeling that I'm used to. And I nurture the depression. Like, oh, it's winter. I'm from Southern California. Of course I'm going to be a little depressed during the winter. Like, I'm used to seeing the sun. And so now I'm like, okay, what can I do to make me happy? Like, make sure that I keep my serotonin and my dopamine levels up. Make sure that I get some sun. Make sure that I go on a beach vacation. Make sure that I don't, beat myself up over sleeping in because it's freezing outside. Stuff like that. Making sure I don't, beat myself up for eating, noodles and warm comfort foods. So knowing yourself just helps keep you it keeps you company. Sadness and loneliness and depression are not anywhere near what they are when you don't have spirituality and personal development. You always have something to turn to. You always have something to look forward to. That new thing, you just look for it. It's almost like for me, I'm always like, okay, great. What am I going to learn next? Like, I think this every day. Sometimes I'll go like a long time without transforming or learning something new. And a long time for me is like a month or two. I mean, maybe it feels like that. Maybe it's not actually that long because I do just like transform really quickly. But I know at this point that there are waves, and I just need to ride those waves and enjoy it. So that's something personal development and spirituality has taught me, is just to kind of enjoy the journey more. I still have a tough time with that. I'm the kind of person that like wants to see results, and I hate things that are incomplete, and they need to be completed, and I'm very like rigid and hard on myself. But spirituality is like eased that a little bit. I mean, you could obtain pretty much anything you want, overcome obstacles easily, more freedom. Oh man, there's just so many things. Excitement, passion. People throw that word around all the time, passion. Live a life with more passion. And for a long time, I asked myself, like, what in the world is passion? I didn't even know what it felt like. I didn't know what it felt like to be moved by something. And part of uncovering all of the feelings that I had was uncovering passion. And living a life of passion just means, like, doing all of the things that you want to do. It's like that video I did on clothes, on owning things that you love. When you live a life of passion, you only do the things that you want to do. That's it. If you got to go to work and do only the things that you wanted to do, wouldn't you be excited to go to work? That excitement is passion. If you loved to dance and you wanted to lose weight, wouldn't you just go dance to lose weight? You would be excited to go out and like go salsa dancing. Doesn't matter what you look like. You would just do it because you enjoy the feeling. So passion is following those feelings of joy and taking action on them. And so I guess to conclude the video, I would challenge you, what is it that keeps you from doing the things that you want to do? Make a list. Every time you feel like you want to do something and then you don't take action on it, write down your excuse. Why are you not doing it? And maybe someday we'll work on those excuses together, because that's something I would do. I'm kind of like a nerd. I'm a freak. I'm a student. I love to learn. I'm a note taker. Like, I'm just crazy about that kind of stuff. So I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of written things to myself like that. Yeah, that'd be a good place to start if you want to go down the path and live a life of more passion. I hate repeating words that other people say because it sounds like you just don't know what you're talking about, right? Like when I don't know what you guys think, but when I hear other people just like repeating the same damn shit like Tony Robbins says, I'm like, come on, can't you find a better way to do that? And here I am just saying like, live with passion. But yeah, I guess it's just finding like the things that excite you and doing them and letting go of the things that don't, because life's too short to do things that you don't want to do, and you don't have to do those things. And whatever it is, whatever reasons you have for thinking that you have to do them, say goodbye to those. And at first you have to identify what they are. So anyways, I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for watching. You can view the other two videos probably from up here or maybe down there. I hope you enjoy. Please leave any comments or questions below. You can send me some requests on videos or questions that you have, and I hope you all have an enjoyable day, and I will see you soon. Thank you.